Hello, my name is Mary Smale. I'm Director of the Sesame Institute for Drama and Movement Therapy. Welcome to Sesame. The story of the Sesame Institute began with a dream. This happened in 1964 when our founder, Billy Lindqvist, had the dream. This was at a time when there was no other treatment for people in hospitals, people with learning disabilities, people struggling with mental health problems. And the dream came along. She's going to tell us about it.
I went to sleep and the dream was that I was in what was called a long stay ward of a psychiatric hospital, and everybody was separated from everybody else, as they always are inclined to be. There was no communication at all, and there was utter loneliness, and it was awful. And some people that I was training with and working with came into the hospital and started moving with the people who were so ill and kind of inviting them to come in and be together. And they did. They were together, they came in, and the whole of this isolated group of people became one group.
So from that dream, Billy decided that she would form a group of actors called the Sesame Cats, and they moved throughout the UK, going into homes, into institutions, taking very simple mind stories without words. And they had amazing results. People who hadn't spoken joined in enactments and spoke. People who had been stuck in chairs began to move. And doctors and nurses and occupational therapists and physios said, "What is it you're doing?" And they didn't know. They just knew that drama and movement worked. And there gathered a team round Billy, and they began to think about what they were doing. And from that there formed a way of working, the Sesame approach, the Sesame method, that set up trainings throughout the country. You may be wondering, why Sesame is a strange name to give to a way of working. And the answer is very simple. Ali Baba, in the ancient story, knew that there was riches inside a dark cave, but he didn't know how to get in. He heard the password, Open Sesame. He used the password, Open Sesame, and the cave door opened and he walked inside, and the things inside were incredible. Well, it was the same way with the cats and the people who were creating the course. They knew they had a way in, but they didn't know quite what the words were. They found a way of drawing on various strands of drama and movement, and creating them into the way of working which we now call the Sesame approach, which opens doors for people. And this is what the Sesame Institute charity now does. It trains people in this way of working. It trains people to be drama therapists. It trains psychotherapists to come and use this way of working. It introduces people to the way of working. And it supports practitioners and enables researchers to grow and develop the work, which Billy started in '64.
What is the most important aspect of the Sesame approach to you? The most important aspect?
I think it's the body language, because people express more through the body language instead of voicing.
Being able to play and move.
Growth.
Safety and going somewhere new. finding the key to open up the doors within. That's the most important thing for me, and that might take a long time. Once you've found the key, you're there.
The way that it's just like that hits you, you don't, because of all the Sesame thing, it's a bit oblique and you don't know what to expect in a story or in a movement when you start doing it, and then it hits you, and then you don't, and you're surprised yourself in the way that you can express yourself with voice, with movement, with drama and everything, like just suddenly appear. Sometimes not, but sometimes definitely there. And wow, that's me.
And I would like you to make a statue of that word. Cave.
When Sesame's using drama, it's not usually about performance or about acting. It's much more that when you can begin to play and imagine and become safe enough to be spontaneous, then something new happens that perhaps would not happen in your everyday adult life. When we can draw on what might be called the inner child or our playfulness, things that don't happen in the everyday are freed up, are released, and we can recognise those parts of ourselves in the drama and then gradually bring them back to the everyday and say, how could I use that in my actual life? So drama is a key, an open door to finding more. We use the ancient stories that have roles and characters and wisdom, stories that can tell us more about ourselves when we take on those characters. For example, working with the story of Orpheus, which is a big story. It's about going down and bringing something back from the place inside. You would be working with people, getting them to look at the theme of trusting what's in you and not turning round to see if it's okay. It's a kind of common everyday theme. We're gifted, we've got something that's good for us, whether it's our music or our joy of life or our ability to do something. But so often we mistrust it, we turn round to see what's happening for other people. As a character of that story, and from the character to say one word or a sound.
Change.
In enacting a story, in taking on a role, you can find an aspect of yourself that you may have lost, that you may have never found. See it in the character, try it on as you would a garment, and then say, actually, this belongs to me, I'll have that. And of course there's movement. I'm talking at the moment. I'm using a lot of words. If my body were to tell you this story, it might look and sound very different, but there would be a different vocabulary being used. The body speaks its own language, and so working with clients and patients, when you can allow them freedom, when they can be safe enough to move and let body talk, then new things can emerge.
During the 11 sessions, I found find that I much more, I find the freedom of moving, of being with other people, not to be shy, to move with other people in different ways, and to bring also my, as an Israeli, to bring also different types of movements that other people, that I wanted to share with other people, like Arabic movement and different things. So it was great.
And then there's relationship. Relationship in any therapy is important, but Sesame doesn't do the relationship primarily through talking. It starts with the drama, the movement, and touch. Not touch in an indelicate way or in a dangerous way, but respectful touch of when two bodies can begin to converse and talk. What new thing can come about that can gradually return to words?
The trademark of Sesame is movement with touch. How did you sort of feel about being taught about it, really, and applying it? Does it work for you?
Movement with touch is very much, like we say, the special thing with the Sesame method, and that it has very much a transference value to the other strands and the other things we do, and very much to the role of the therapist, because it highlights very much the sensitivity and the really attunement to the relationship with the clients and the people that we are with.
People need to be touched. It's in some ways it's so obvious, and you go into these placements and people are some placements are in institutions and have been all their life, and the moment where as a group you are comfortable enough to hold hands in the circle is, you can see the expressions on people's faces and the sense of belonging and being part of something which, it may seem tiny, but it may be huge to them. The taking we take for granted and accepting that that's not necessarily true for everybody, but that's what's hit me about movement touch.
And we work with voice, not as I'm talking just now, with words, but with sound, with music, not symphonic sound, but with raw, natural, creative sound. And all of these components make up what we call the speciality of the Sesame approach. Take your time. Don't go by the group pace, go by your own rhythm. True time. Once you're standing, see if your sound rhythm wants to change.
We were using our voices, and there was this moment that lasted, it was more than a moment, felt like it lasted an eternity, where my voice and my body and my mind were all one and were moving as one, and I didn't feel like I was controlling any of them, and it was just happening, and it was one of the most profound experiences I think I've ever had. And for me, that was the kind of the core of my understanding of this approach. And it is hard to know it unless you've experienced it. But in the moment that it happens, it's awesome.
With this work of Sesame that I've been telling you about. Billy believed this work could go everywhere, and I think she's right. Her dream and a vision of taking it further is where we need your partnership.
What does Sesame mean to you?
A community and being together.
Can I do it in movement?
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Happiness.
Exploration.
Exploring deep down in dream, analysing, expressing the way without the voice.
It means home and acceptance.
Thank you for your time in watching this DVD. It is my sincere hope that it has inspired you to partner with us and help us make changes and open doors in people's lives.